Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we are decoding a massive paradigm shift that is literally hiding in plain sight. We're going to look at how the physical world around us, our homes, our vehicles, even our healthcare, is quietly being swallowed up by deep tech software. It's this wild concept known as the Asset Operating System Framework, or AOS, and let me tell you, it completely rewrites the rules of how physical assets are managed and monetized. To really wrap our heads around this, let's start with a bit of a provocative question. What if I told you that booking a simple local maintenance app to, say, fix a broken door lock or a leaky pipe isn't actually about the repair at all? What if that repair is really a Trojan horse, like a clever disguise for a highly orchestrated, deep tech scheme designed to extract incredibly valuable data from real estate? Okay, let's dive right into this. So historically, the field service industry has been this chaotic triangle of blind property owners, massive but totally disconnected supply chains, and highly fragmented gig workers. The traditional view? It relies on fleets of trucks, sweaty manual labor, and basically frantically scrambling when a pipe bursts at 2 a.m. But the AOS view completely replaces all that friction. It's entirely about data flow, proactive algorithms, predictive maintenance, and building what's called a digital passport for physical items. So here is our mental roadmap for today. We're going to quickly hit the 5 golden rules of this framework, then look at the physical API, check out the modular core architecture, the impenetrable predictive moat it builds, and finally wrap up with the astronomical valuation shift this creates. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the 5 rules. Because listen, you can't just apply this digital operating system to any random local business. There is a strict blueprint required to build an AOS from scratch. According to our sources, a traditional industry has to meet 5 exact conditions to actually pull off this transformation. First up, you need a high-value physical asset, like a yacht or a smart home, where the owners are terrified of depreciation. Second, a need for recurring, predictable maintenance. Third, massive dominant retail suppliers. Fourth, a highly fragmented workforce of independent contractors. And fifth, absolutely the most important, cumulative and predictive data. That 5th rule is the ultimate key. Think about it for a second. Every time a technician goes out to fix something, they aren't just turning a wrench, they're feeding a massive system of record. By gathering data with every single fix, like, say, logging the exact lifespan of a specific air conditioning part, the whole system shifts from reactive scrambling to proactive asset protection. It actually builds failure prediction algorithms that become an absolute, impenetrable competitive advantage. Moving right along to Section 2, the physical API. So how do you actually execute these predictive insights in the messy, real world without just dropping the ball? Well, imagine a sensor detects a fault. Instantly, the software pings a major supplier, treating them exactly like an API. The materials are automatically reserved and prepped at the store, and only then is an independent contractor dispatched to pick them up and fix the issue. We're talking 0 phone calls, no waiting in line, and literally 0 human coordination. It's crazy when you realize the platform treats multi-billion-dollar retail giants like Home Depot or Lowe's as mere lines of code. They become physical APIs, just specialized logistic nodes responding purely to algorithms. And by directing this massive volume of automated purchases, the platform secures huge volume rebates. It turns into a zero-inventory, high-margin revenue engine. Okay, on to Section 3, the modular core. Now, you might be wondering, how does a company scale this mind-bending automation into entirely different industries without having to rewrite millions of lines of code every single time? The answer lies in what the sources call a universal microkernel architecture. Think of this central brain like a video game console. The console handles all the heavy lifting, the smart routing engine mapping out driving routes, the vendor score system rating the suppliers, and the automated payout core paying the independent workers instantly. And if you want to enter a new industry, you don't build a whole new console. You just snap in a new game cartridge. You want to manage real estate? Snap in Property OS. Want to manage yachts? Snap in Marine OS. The sources even detail Care OS, where the high-value asset, believe it or not, is actually a patient. The system uses biotelemetry to proactively dispatch a nurse and pharmacy meds before a health crisis puts the patient in the hospital. This reduces hospital stays by an incredible 30 to 40%. It is infinitely scalable plug-and-play software, which brings us to Section 4, the predictive moat. So we've seen how the system scales, but how does this massive generation of data actually lock down the market and prevent anyone else from competing? Let's look at a specific example from the sources, Marine OS. When this framework manages a luxury yacht, It tracks every single repair, every engine hour, every filter change, and creates an immutable vessel passport. Presenting this flawless digital memory to maritime insurance companies slashes the owner's yacht insurance premiums by over 20%. Here's the catch. Once a property owner, or a yacht owner, or whoever is in the system, they are locked in. It's the ultimate ecosystem trap. Think about how hard it is to switch away from your smartphone's ecosystem, but multiplied by millions of dollars. A client simply cannot leave, because the second they cancel that subscription, they instantly lose their asset's entire digital memory. And poof, those massive insurance discounts vanish. Leaving the platform becomes completely financially irrational. And finally, Section 5, the valuation shift. This right here is the massive financial climax of the AOS paradigm, where all of this engineering translates into staggering wealth generation. Let's directly contrast the financials. If you run a sweaty, manual, traditional service company with fleets of trucks, Wall Street might value your business at 1 or 2 times your earnings. That caps you at maybe $36 to $72 million. But if you strip away the heavy assets and position yourself as a deep tech AOS infrastructure holding the predictive data of an entire industry, suddenly you're valued at 5 to 10 times your annual recurring revenue. We are talking a valuation of $500 million to over $1 billion. This huge gap tells the whole story. You aren't just a service provider anymore. You are the central nervous system of physical assets. When massive retail chains depend on your software's predictive data just to know what to stock on their shelves next month, you've completely swallowed the supply chain. And that, for sure, justifies a $1 billion leap in market valuation. I really want to hammer this home. This 5x to 10x multiplier on annual recurring revenue is the absolute core takeaway here. The market is screaming that manual labor is easily replaceable and low value, but owning the predictive data and the orchestration layer of the physical economy, that is sovereign tech infrastructure, and that is where the astronomical multiples live. So, wrapping up this explainer, the source documents make one thing abundantly clear. This isn't about competing for local repair contracts. Through the brilliant use of a modular core engine, physical APIs, and predictive data modes, the software has elevated itself entirely. It has become the mastermind, quietly orchestrating the whole physical economy from above, while the traditional players do the heavy lifting down below. Which leaves us with a fascinating and maybe slightly unsettling final thought. If a seemingly simple property maintenance app can secretly be a Trojan horse that swallows the entire physical economy, what other traditional boring industry out there is sitting on an undiscovered digital gold mine right now? Definitely keep an eye out, because the next billion-dollar digital transformation is probably hiding in plain sight. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.